basketball, wiener dog, shorts, cigarette, surfboard.
All right, welcome in to another episode of the Captain and Madden Show. Coming at you here, the very end of May 29th, Friday, May 29th, 2026. This is Mike Madden on my side of things. Captain Michael Corby on his side. Captain, how are you this sunny evening? It's still sun's still out, brother.
I'm going to pause for a moment because I was a little worried after last week's closing.
Yes.
Where you completely threw me off with the goodbye or hello is goodbye backwards, just spelled really badly.
Right, yes.
I was wondering what you were going to pull for an intro this week.
Oh, you thought I was going to...
I thought you were going to say, like, you know, wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Something that life is a series of hello and goodbye. I was waiting for that.
No. So you were prepared for riddle.
I was...
Or non sequitur.
Like an infielder, I was on the balls of my feet. I'm ready. Like,
yes.
You know,
yes.
If you were going to drop the bunt, I'm ready to charge in.
Good call. Like a midget at a urinal, you're always on your toes.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Frank Rubin.
Yeah, I mean those are the type of things you should be.
Ever since we started this podcast, I've noticed things, you know, like stop signs.
Very good. Very good. So this week on the podcast, we're going to pontificate and open our brains up for a series of unpopular opinions. And this is actually going to be famously we like to do every few months on the Captain and Madden Show. We like to do like a series, right? We've done our series on one versus one, you know, one icon versus another icon. We've done our series on the death of the music industry, and now we're going to do a series of unpopular opinions. This first episode, we're going to focus on sports and the unpopular opinions that surround the major professional sports, not only in the United States, but even around the world that we encounter. So, listen, we're not going to get player specific here. So it's not going to be like, here's an unpopular opinion. Oscar Robertson's the greatest basketball player of all time. It's not stupid shit like that. We're not gonna go stat heavy and like nerd out on, you should be watching this guy because, or, you know, this league produces the most like number one draft picks, but they only get, you know, postseason play in 40% of the seasons. We're not going to go like super deep and crazy like that. We're going to try not to disparage specific players or overinflate certain stats. We're going to kind of go in a little bit more down Main Street about the broader topics of sport. Is that a good way to describe it?
Yeah, it's I was a little worried because when you first pitched this to me, I thought it was going to be like hot takes, and I thought I was going to have to use my slow, deliberate Stephen Smith when I am trying to make a point. The Stephen A. Smith.
Skip.
Here's the thing, and then you pause. When it comes to the DH in baseball, you know, I was going to have to. I have to pontificate. You know, I don't even know what pontificate is, but he says it a lot.
Yeah, he's very.
God bless you.
He's very interested in the sound of his own voice. So yeah, that's where we're at. Unpopular opinions in sports. Would you like to kick off with? Give me one unpopular opinion that you have, and which side of the argument you're on, and we'll see where we go from here.
So my first one, I'm going to go with the Olympics were better during the Cold War. Which
Okay.
would also kind of coincide with the Olympics were better before the internet.
All right. Okay.
So you could kind of go both ways here.
Mhm.
So you look at I I'll go, even though the Cold War I know goes back to the 50s.
Yeah.
Uh, but like if you look at all the Olympics that happened in the 70s into the 80s, um, Russia was dominant in just about every sport. Now, I know some people, the first thing they're going to say is, well, they were doping all their athletes.
Right.
I'm sure they're not the only country that was doing that.
Right. Yeah.
Um, wink, wink. I think maybe some of the Americans might have been doping too,
Yeah. The ones that got caught.
or other countries, not just America. But
Ben
not
Johnson.
not only were the Russians, but the Eastern European, or as I like to call it, the Eastern Bloc,
Right.
were very dominant, especially Winter Olympics. They were not only a real threat on sports, like on the field, they were a real threat in real life.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Where once you kind of get out of the Cold War, now our main focus has kind of been our enemies have pretty much been in the Middle East, who, yes, are formative opponents on a battlefield, but not exactly
no.
up to the task when it comes to sports.
Some of those Iranians can wrestle.
I'm sure they can, but you're not going in there going, well, the Iranian hockey team is the
True.
odds-on favorite
Yeah.
to win the gold. The Iranians have not lost a game in 12 years.
Right.
There's going to be no miracle on ice when the U.S. upset the Iranian.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So it also kind of coincides, I think, now, like, think about if you did have a modern day complete upset, I understand the U.S. beating Canada was like the odds, I'm sure, were in favor of Canada on the men's and women's side. But that did not,
You're all using pros.
that is not the same as the 80 U.S. Olympic team beating the Russians.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
If there was that type of dominance in Olympic sports that was upset, about it as it was happening, because one, everything has to be shown live. It's on streaming. And even if you were at work with everybody's got a cell phone, you'd be constantly getting updates, or people would either be texting each other. You'd be getting all these notifications on so the idea of sitting down at 8:00 on whatever night it was to watch the U.S. men play the Russian hockey team and be completely blown away the fact that the U.S. won, that doesn't happen anymore because of
round the clock coverage and the round the clock curiosity and the access. Right. I think the access to streaming, to refresh culture, whatever you want to say about the way that news is delivered or sports news is delivered, it's an around the clock business. So yes, I agree that there's a little bit of the romantic elements of a 1976 Olympics or a 1984 Olympics. Even though they're in the United States, they're still, you still have to wait until West Coast time to see most of the medal ceremony. So they're not going off until after 8:00, and it's in prime time. And it's 96 Olympics was on the cusp of the internet culture, and still it was there's an appointment viewing to see the main attraction sports in the primetime spots. So I will totally agree that there is something lost by having the information readily at your hands at an overnight even an overnight game or an early morning game, like that stuff is right at your fingertips. The Cold War stuff is interesting, and I think that's a bigger question of it's I guess it's global politics, which is not my favorite thing to talk about, but I think the global political elements, the theories of a boogeyman that were existing, that the Russian boogeyman were going to come and get us and put us in enslavement camps in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. That just ties into American patriotism. So it's easier to sell that because you're like, well, we need an enemy. And to your point, we did have those enemies in a sporting sense, in a palatable sporting sense. Instead of saying like, well, let's launch missiles across the world at each other, it is, well, we can send, this ragtag group of hockey players, even though it's in Lake Placid, New York, against like these trained professional world-class athletes at Russia and beat them. And it's all great.
See, the other side of it, yes, the 80 Olympic team is probably the pinnacle of us versus them.
Yeah.
And you have the controversy of the 72 men's basketball game,
right?
The gold medal game between U.S. and Russia.
Mm-hmm.
But even when I don't want to say hatred, but that rivalry or that like they're the enemy, like came down to every sport. Like all of a sudden people guys that were just, I sit in the chair and I watch football every weekend. We're now watching gymnastics and we're watching figure skating because the U.S. figure skater and the USSR figure skater were 1 and 2 or 2 and 1. They were the two that were going to battle it out. Or I'm going to watch downhill skiing because these two, like,
there's an East German that's really great here. Yeah.
Like basically, it was that us versus them mentality was in every sport. So yeah, it's easy. Like hockey's a popular sport, basketball is a popular. Like even the most unpopular of the Olympic events were getting focused because if like the two leading contenders for gold was somebody from either that Eastern Bloc or the USSR and the US. Now all of a sudden, like kind of like now in some ways, like with Patriots, like we used to make fun of curling to now we're totally into curling because the US is finally good at it.
They got better.
Right. Won. It's the same thing. Like as long as the two groups or the two individuals that were going for gold or the best or the most, anticipated that could were of those two, areas, then people were going to watch and people were going to. Now, if the two leading people were from China and, France, then it probably didn't get as much attention and nobody was probably had a rooting, but it seemed like, those 70s into the late 80s before the USSR disbanded and broke off and the wall fell and all that other stuff. Like, remember even the old joke with like, remember the figure skating and gymnastics, with the scoring.
Right.
And it was always like, oh, well, the West German, they scored us at a 9 point
lower.
something.
Yeah.
But the East German was always like, that was always a joke.
You gave us an 8. Right.
When the U.S. person went, all the East German and all the Eastern Bloc and U.S. or in USSR, if there were judges in there, they were always very harsh against the U.S. and vice versa. The U.S. judge was always harsh against all of them. And they went back, and then finally they realized, like, as the Cold War ended, like, we have to make the scoring, like, we can't have it, like, so we have to fix the way that things are scored so that it's fair, as fair and balanced as possible, which was always the thing that, like, maybe this is another unpopular opinion. I never really liked figure skating or any of those or gymnastics or the dive, anything that was like scored or judged,
Right. Yeah.
because
That's just it's a nuanced opinion.
it
And
was always either it was either biased because of where they're from, or biased because like, oh, this person is a 3-time Olympic medalist, whereas the other person who actually probably performed better, this is their first Olympics. So it's like, well, we're going to give it to the veteran because this could be their last. This other person, she's still, he or she still has, maybe 2 or 3 more Olympics to kind of prove it. So, so that's another thing. I never liked sports where it's
based on judging.
where it's judging.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
just have 2 people go up, and whoever the last person standing, or whoever has the most points, or whatever it is, that's who wins.
You're not a dog show guy? Dog show, not sports enough for you?
I like to take a ball and I like to throw it, and
Not
then
a
the
show.
dog go and get it and come back. I'm not a best in show type.
That's more of an event.
Because the ugliest dogs always win. It's like nobody.
Wow.
No. Oh, that's great. Like that dog nobody wants that dog as a pet.
Wow. You're really just firing shots.
The hair maintenance alone, it costs you. Then you got to get them the fake testicles and all that other shit. Like, it's ridiculous. But yeah, that's my my unpopular opinion is fucking Olympics are dead. I don't even think we really should have them anymore. But
No,
they were much better. They were much better during the Cold
Come
War,
on.
and they've been ruined by the internet.
All right. Well, see you in 2028 LA when when more of the stuff is viewable by the Western audience, and we can stay up late to watch basketball games and get live results in real time. So we'll see. I do also I also do want to point out that because of the tensions between warring nations, there were boycotts. It wasn't necessarily the IOC coming in and standing there and saying, well, we know that your athlete's dope, and we know that you're not going to follow by the rules for qualification, so we're going to disqualify you from being in the Olympics, Russia. This was more or less like, we're afraid to send our athletes because of the tension. So that's why 1980 was no U.S. presence. So, and the same thing with 84 for the Russians. So it all kind of glides around. But yes, I want more. I want more rivals too.
Just remember, the most popular Rocky movie is Rocky IV. It's not the best one, but it's the most popular. Certainly not the best one, but it's the most popular one because he fights a Russian.
There's an interesting connection.
And the soundtrack kicks ass.
There's an interesting connection between those two movies that I'll bring up for a later episode. All right, let's see what I have for an unpopular opinion. Mine's going to revolve around the Hall of Fame. First of all, in general, here's here's my thesis statement. I think fans of American sports care too much about the Hall of Fame of their particular sport or their favorite sport or whatever it is. And they care too much about who's going in, and they have an opinion about everybody that goes in, but less and less people are visiting these Hall of Fames in person. Because you know what would happen if you walked into the baseball, even if you have the most rotten opinion about this guy shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, he was a cheat, that guy was a cheat, blah, blah, blah. You know what you would do if you walked into that Hall of Fame? You would be marveled at all of the memorabilia, all of the exhibits. It would blow your mind walking into a major sports Hall of Fame and seeing the tributes that they have to the players that are in there. Earned, not earned, Hall of Very Good, Hall of Famous, whatever. I just think people love to twiddle their thumbs and say, I would have done this better. And then it becomes like a stats argument, and it's fucking crazy. To go even further into that, and this is where maybe the crux of a solution could be for these petty fans that want to be catered to. I do not like Major League Baseball. I'm going to use as my example on this one. I do think that the writers of the who have the biggest voting majority when it comes to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame they're all elitists, and they're very like into their own, like they love to write their stories about why they kept a guy out of the Hall of Fame or why they voted for this guy. And it's very much like a pat yourself on the back for having a vote. So I think the writers there should be a step back on their influence. They should still have a say in it, and I think the vote should be split. And I'm proposing this vote being split 4 ways. So it would be the Baseball Writers Association of America. I would say the current players or anybody that's on a major league team at the beginning of a season of that particular Hall of Fame voting season, they should all have a vote. Players, coaches, the on-field organization should get a vote. I think there should be a vote combined, and I do believe that there is some weight that's given to a Hall of Fame committee, or every living Hall of Famer should have their chance to vote on this as well. And then if you buy a ticket and attend the Baseball Hall of Fame in the calendar year, you were put into a lottery, and a select number of people who attended the Hall of Fame get 1 entry into the lottery. None of this like, oh, I went to the Hall of Fame 10 times and they gave me 10 entries. Bullshit. 1 visit to the Hall of Fame gets you 1 vote, or gets you put into a lottery for 1 vote. That would drive attendance. I think it would be a great way to drive attendance, and it would be a great way for the fans' voice that is being heard from somebody who's actually paying money to go to see the Baseball Hall of Fame. Shut up, and that would actually give the fans motivation to go to see one of the greatest museums in the United States. And I say the same thing for the Football Hall of Fame. I say the same thing for basketball, hockey, golf, tennis. If you got a Hall of Fame and there's a voting committee, give the paying customers a chance to see a ballot and to vote with their heart. Maybe they stuff the ballot box and some chum like gets a few more votes, and they realize, oh, we got an upswing of votes because people went to the Hall of Fame, that we're doing this like letter writing campaign for this like bum player. Okay, whatever. Like however you want to couch it and put it, let that be the case. And then it's a proof in the pudding. It's like, well, you can't complain about the Hall of Fame if you don't go to it and see what they got going on. And if you do, hey, you get a chance to vote. You get the chance to go into a lottery and maybe have a chance to vote for it the next go around.
I do like the idea of that if you go to the museum, the Hall of Fame museum, whether it's Canton, whatever, Cooperstown, whatever Hall of Fame that you go to, that you should receive some sort of ballot to vote for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Maybe I'm mixing sports, but I thought baseball now didn't they incorporate some sort of fan vote into it, or is
No.
that all right?
No. They have different committees.
So I would have a committee of writers, a committee of people who are actually in the Hall of Fame. I would try to take out current players. I don't really like the idea of current because I don't know.
They're playing the game.
Yeah, but they may not. A lot of players don't really watch baseball, so I
would hope all of them do.
Derek Jeter never watched a baseball game. He played in them.
He was too busy fucking and giving fruit baskets out to people.
Oh, you hate.
I'm not hating. I was saying he was too busy fucking and giving fruit baskets to people.
There is a historical conversation that A-Rod likes to tell, that where when they were teammates, A-Rod said, well, I'm going to go home and I'm going to watch whatever West Coast game it was. Mm-hmm. And Derek was like, why do you do that? I don't watch baseball. So, all right.
It's a conversation that I don't want anything to do with that conversation. So
I would have a 4-way if you go to the Baseball Hall of Fame, baseball writers or media, you have to have some sort of qualifications. You can't have every fucking blogger
Yeah,
and
exactly.
whatever.
They have too many people in there.
Like a committee made up of media, a committee made up of people who are actually in the Hall of Fame, people who attend the Hall of Fame, and I would say season ticket holders for baseball.
Okay, maybe.
Because I would wonder, since a lot of the Hall of Fames are in the East Coast, are you alienating fans who live on the West Coast who can't make the trip out to Canton or I think where the hell is the Basketball Hall of Fame is in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And then the baseball's in
Cooperstown,
New York. I'm trying to remember where hockey Hall of Fame
Minnesota. Are they in Minnesota?
Or is it Canada?
It's up north
was it
somewhere
Toronto?
where it's cold.
So
maybe it's Toronto. Yeah.
So there, you're kind of all right. Maybe there's a baseball fan in Texas who can't afford to go to Cooperstown.
I get that,
but
okay. But they also.
But if you can afford season tickets, I would imagine you can afford to go to.
But here's
I don't know.
It shouldn't just be the people who step into the Hall of Fame. All right, I get that. All right, so let's give a combination.
There should be a fan element to it, but I also don't want what happened with the All-Star voting, where people just where they would stuff the ballot and some guy from the Oakland Athletics got in who didn't deserve to be there. Like, you know what I mean? Plus, I think we're already there was a point where a lot of these Hall of Fames were Hall of Fames. And I think all of them have now passed into now it's the Hall of Pretty Good.
But
because a lot of it's a business. And
yes, I know.
There are years that there are guys who are, or women who are nominated or eligible who don't deserve to. But what you can't have is years where you just sit there and say, well, nobody's getting in this year because all the hotels around Cooperstown and Canton and that, like, they make a ton of money and they need those ceremonies. So there's always going to be years. There's never going to be a year now where nobody gets in because the economics of those towns rely on that. So
they take a beating, right?
So I'm sure there have already been years where there have been people that have gotten into the Football Hall of Fame and the Baseball Hall. Like, I know one of your points that you said was compilers. That was one of your hot takes.
I'll get that later. I'll get to that later.
If I sit there and say to you, and no matter what sport it is, if I say a name of a player, and I say Hall of Fame, and you got to go, well, I got to look at the stat. Then he's not a
Hall of Fame. No, it should be no brainers.
It should be no brainer. That should be the Hall of Fame. Should be the best players to ever play the game.
I completely understand that. What I'm proposing here is actually, like, respect the halls of fame, the buildings, the museums, go to them as a vacationer and a traveler. And maybe one of the perks by going to the Hall of Fame is you get entered into a lottery to potentially vote for who gets into this thing. So less and less people would be just sitting there, like, behind a keyboard going, clackety, clackety. I don't like that this guy's on the ballot. Clackety, clackety. And it's like you're yelling into a vacuum. And I know it's online people and they don't really exist. But I think if there's a motivation to
it's not
do
just
that,
it's just an online. It's not just online people. It's people who have sports shows.
Yeah, I know. Idiots ESPN like us.
And Fox Sports that. Oh my God! I can't believe this person's on.
Yeah, it's there just to rage bait you. But bottom line is, like, if these the way I dare I say it's the way to fight back is for all of these museums to kind of say, all right, come on down to see what we have to offer. Put your money where your mouth is, and we'll put you into a lottery. Maybe you get a vote if you'll come to the museum. And I think that would actually be that's a decent motivation for certain baseball fans to say, all right, yeah, I haven't checked it out. Maybe I'll think logically, go in and see what you have to offer.
So if I eventually go to the Baseball Hall of Fame and I get selected to have a vote that year, can I vote for anybody?
No, they have to be on the ballot.
So I can't vote for Donnie Baseball?
No, if he's not on the ballot, tough nuts.
I'm not going.
Okay, all right. Be that way. All right, give me another unpopular opinion or another another debate to have.
All right. Professional female sports are boring. I'm not saying I am all encouraging for girls, women to be in sports.
Okay.
I think it's great for kids. It's great for people, competitive. All the benefits that you get for being in a team sport or individual. Work ethic, being able to work with a team, setting goals, trying to achieve them. All those things that for those people who don't become professionals, you can take a lot of those skills and apply them into your real life, your careers, or the way that you family, whatever it is that you are passionate about. You can take a lot of things that you learned playing Little League baseball or Little League softball or soccer or football, cheerleading, whatever it is. And I'm not saying that there's by all means, there should be professional women's sports. All I'm saying is my opinion is I find them boring.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair for you to say it's not your cup of tea. You find it boring. But as people may or may not have already figured out, I am a soccer fan. You are a soccer fan, right?
I watch league play and I watch when it comes time for World Cup or
international
tournaments and international play. Most, I would say 90% of the women's soccer that I watch is during that time of league international play.
Right.
While at the same time I watch a lot of both league play and international play for the men's. And I try to sit down and especially, I'll watch the U.S. women's team play. And there is a part of me that while I'm watching it, while I'm rooting for the U.S. and I love the game of soccer, it kills me to where, it needs 3 passes to get to, if we want to change the fields. The corners aren't as sharp. Goals that you see shots that go into the goal that you're like, if that's a men goalie that gets saved, or there's just little things that when you're watching it, the speed of play, and believe me, all of them would house me. I'm not saying I can walk on, I'm just saying when you watch if I sit there and watch, this past year, my son goes to college. So I was going kind of back and forth between the men's team that was in the tournament and the women's team that was in the tournament. And then when you watch a men's game at 2:00 and then you flip on the women's game at 6:00, you almost kind of feel like you're not watching the same sport. It's just, again, if you have a daughter that's out there that's playing, that's in college, whatever, I'm not saying there shouldn't be. There absolutely should.
It's just not your cup of tea, is what you're saying.
It's just you're
not the target audience.
I'm not the target audience. It takes a lot for me to sit down and watch some NBA. You're going to be asking a lot of me to sit down and watch a WNBA game.
Okay. Here's the only here's the part of that argument, and for the most part, like I'll agree with you. I'm not a watcher of female league sports either. Yes, if it's an international competition, if it's the Olympics, if it's the World Cup, if it's if it's a game with some kind of stakes that are that kind of has like a buzz about it, sure. Like I'll keep an eye on it. But I've been on record that I do see, like, a lot of people will say, like, oh, they're loss leaders, and like those leagues don't make any money, and they, why are the women asking for a raise? Because look at the houses that they draw. Like, that's all well and good, but their money for all of those leagues is usually coming through TV rights and live sports, and live sports is a big business. So ESPN has the big contract with them. ABC has the big contract with the WNBA. They're going to encourage you time after time. They have those big contracts with the women's NCAA tournament. They're going to encourage you time after time to take a chance on them. If you're a fan of sports, you can turn around and you can watch a game like this. Yes, that is all well and good. When you start to understand, yes, it's a much slower game. If you decide to engage in it, then that's wonderful too. But you can walk away from it. It's legal to walk away from it and say, it's not my thing. But my other side of that argument is that there are people, and this is where the unpopular opinion of it's too boring. There will be people that will say, well, watch this girl play and tell me she's not as lightning fast as anybody in the NBA. So nowadays, bless you, nowadays you're going to see a lot of those, like those little crap arguments are gonna pop up, and more power to them if they're starting to get develop skills at a younger age, or develop skills in a certain way because there's opportunities to play on more teams in the WNBA, or even I hear good things about the Professional Women's Hockey League that sells out Madison Square Garden, or sells out the Barclays Center, not Madison Square Garden, but will sell out these arenas just based on word of mouth and a groundswell of local fans that are like, yeah, I want to check this out. I want to bring my daughters to this. I'm going to bring young kids to this. It's very much and I think this is where there's growth elements to it. There's very much there's an appeal to younger audiences to just get them into the game in some way you can. If that ticket to see the hockey team that plays at the Barclays Center, the Sirens, I think, or something along those lines. I think it's the New York Sirens. Yeah. So if that ticket to get to the Barclays Center is $20, and the ticket to go see the Rangers at Madison Square Garden is $300, grow the game with the female side of sports with younger people, because they can afford, a family of four can afford to bring their kid to that game. Same thing with the WNBA. They did a good thing with lowering ticket prices and setting expectations. Now it's going to start to jump up because the owners of these teams and the league, the people that are running the league, are saying, well, now we have to pay the players more. So you're going to start to see that fluctuate, and that ticket price is going to start to jump a little bit, which is absolutely the last thing they want to do. So the economics of the optics of your argument is something that I would say I'm on board with. The economics of it would be the thing where I'm like, well, if your kids were still younger, I would say take a chance and take them to a game and see how they liked it, and maybe through their eyes you become a better fan of it, and also through your wallet not getting strangled, you might have kind of a good family activity to do a couple times a year.
Like I said, I'm not trying to shit on the women who play the sport or people who attend it. If you can sit down and watch a WNBA game and that's entertaining for you, especially if you have, if you're a parent and you have girls who play basketball, it's great for them to go and say and be like, see, if you really do, if you love the game, if you work really hard, there is a league for you to play in.
Right.
Or, if you practice hard, you can go to college on a scholarship for whatever sport it is. But I'm just saying, for me personally, sitting just like watching an NBA game bores the shit out of me because they don't play defense. It's you come down on a 3-on-1 break and the guy's hoisting up a 3.
Mm-hmm.
They shoot way too many outside shots. Or it's isolation ball where the 4 guys stand on the outside and the one guy dribbles,
Mm-hmm.
and then with 5 seconds left he tries to drive and throws up some sort of shot. It's boring as shit to me. It's not the game that I grew up watching.
Okay. Yeah. That's understandable.
To me, sit down and watch, sometimes I sit there and I find myself looking at my phone more than I am paying attention to what's going on the screen.
Background noise. Yes.
So I will never, I do not condone the bullshit that was happening last NBA or WNBA season where they were throwing sex toys on the. I think that's fucking despicable. I didn't find it funny. The fact that FanDuel and some of the other were actually allowing prop bets as to what color like the next one was.
Yeah.
I thought that was fucking ridiculous and
rude.
The leagues should have done something to be like, you gotta pull that shit down. You can't encourage this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not making fun of women's sports. I'm not downplaying. All I'm saying is when I sit there and watch it, my focus isn't there. I don't get, like, if Manchester United is playing Manchester City in the men's EPL, I'm gonna, even though I'm not a fan of either team, I support Chelsea. I'm gonna sit there and watch that match. Yeah. I'm probably not gonna watch the female Manchester United play Man City.
That's okay.
But it still should go on. But all I'm saying is it's a little bit boring to me.
Fair play.
Same thing, like I could get into like, the equality stuff and, well, if you want it to be equal, then women should have to win 3 sets in a tennis match, just like the men do. Why do they only get why is the ball smaller in the WNBA than it is why is the 3-point line closer than it is? Or in soccer, the women use a size 4 ball, the men have to use a size 5. I could get into a lot of the things that are different, and I'm not arguing like the equality. All I'm saying is, as a viewer, I find a lot of them kind of boring, except the one thing that is kind of entertaining: women's boxing or women's UFC.
Okay.
Because that's some energy, because that's
some
like
training that goes into that.
That's like watching a brawl happen outside a bar, man. They don't. Very few of them. They don't like each other, and I would almost say women's UFC and women's is a little bit more entertaining than the men, because they look pissed off going into that ring, and they just get, with every shot or every kick or whatever it is, they get more and more pissed off at each other. So, that's my hot take.
Okay.
Or that's my unpopular opinion, I should say.
Yeah. Fair play. All right. I got another one here.
Okay.
And this might dovetail into a few other unpopular opinions, but it's been a trend now for 10 years plus. International games, all the sports are trying to do it because they're trying to grow the sport. Foreign fan investment is cool, but it's not necessary to grow it's not necessary to do it to grow your sport. And it's very this is very North America wants to be everybody's best friend when it comes to sports, and sports build bridges is kind of the scope of this. The NFL now is doing more international games this season than any other season they've done before. Major League Baseball goes to they'll go to England, they'll go to Mexico, they'll go to Brazil. Hockey, they'll play some games in foreign countries and come back. Baseball also, the beginning of the season they do the series in Japan. Are any of those other leagues? I mean, I know they're not up to the level that our four major sports are, but is the Premiership saying like, hey, let's host a game during our regular season in the United States and negotiate to play it in the United States? Absolutely not. They're going to play friendly games in their off time, and they're going to showcase a handful of players that play on their main squads. And that's all you get is a little bit of off-season exhibition shit. You do not get a regular season Premiership game. You're not going to get Italian League soccer in the United States. You're not going to get Italian League basketball played during the regular season in the United States. The other countries, either they don't have the capital to do it, they don't have the marketing to do it, but it's also like there's an inherently like, why would we want to do this? They want all of the leagues in North America want to be these global brands. Guess what? Your television makes you a global brand to begin with. Your importing of international players and the interest in the fans in their home countries watching them and getting into your sport on your soil is your ticket to expanding your game. You don't have to play 12 regular season games during an NFL season in European countries and Australia and God forbid we're eventually going to have them in Saudi Arabia because they're thirsty for anything. They want give them the Pro Bowl then. But I think it's like the NFL in particular, this kind of dovetails into other unpopular opinions about the NFL. I think Monday Night Football is dead, and I think they have a lot of issues with like trying to expand their sport to just gobble up TV time in the United States. Hashtag give Christmas back to the NBA. But I think the whole base of this started with, hey, we're going to open things up to international games being played on international soil that are going to tax our players more because they've got to travel now, and no other sport around the country does this during their regular season. Let's knock it off and let's play in North America again, for fuck's sake.
I don't. So I think you've seen the benefits of international play in basketball. I think you've seen the benefits of international play in baseball. Soccer has tried, or a couple of leagues have tried to have real matches played in the U.S., but FIFA has come in and botched any time that there had been attempted. Real Madrid and Villarreal were scheduled to have a match in Miami, and eventually FIFA came in and put the kibosh to that. Instead, they come over in the summertime and they use the Americans as an ATM machine, which kind of, don't get me off on a rant about that. Anybody who pays anything more than like $80 to go see any of these summer league games, you're a fool. You're just a clown.
Okay.
It would be like paying $500 to go see an NFL preseason game somewhere where you're basically watching second and third string guys play for 90% of the whatever.
So all right, so there's a solution there. Send your NFL preseason games over there. Maybe you garner some interest, and
that's the thing, is that you have not seen the benefits yet. I mean, financially, the league has probably seen, but you're not. So, if you think about it, there really wasn't too many international players coming to the NBA, right? Then the 92 Dream Team goes to Spain. There's like a fever to watch those games.
Mm-hmm.
And the NBA continued to, I think they had preseason games that they would play in Europe following the success from.
Okay.
And then you within 10 years, you start seeing more international guys being signed and coming over and playing in the NBA. And now, like the draft, I would say the majority of the first round guys that are draft or are international players. Same thing with baseball. Like there was a Japanese league for a very long time. When Cecil Fielder started doing those exhibition games where he would bring the All-Stars over, and they would play the Tokyo Giants, and they would play 4 or 5 games. And then baseball and baseball fans start seeing some of the talent that was over there. And then you had, Hideki Nomo, you had these guys that were, and now, I mean, Shohei Ohtani is the biggest player in baseball right now.
No. Let me cut you off there. It's not about importing better players and more talented guys to come and play in our league.
Having those games,
it's the fan bases and the thirstiness to quote unquote expand the game when you're already at a tipping point and you're kind of oversaturating yourself in the United States NFL, and now it's like, well, we want to create more games and more spaces internationally, and we're expanding fan bases, and it's like you're trying too hard to expand your fan bases. Nobody else internationally does it this way. It's not a model.
What I'm saying is the other ones have had success, not just financially, but you have seen where the game grows in these countries, and then eventually you have players that come and play. You haven't had that yet in the NFL.
I don't know.
They tried having.
But that's not their goal. They just want to make money in countries that are starting to put their games on.
Money.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is
it's at the expense of the
if you go
American
10 years
audiences.
from now, and all of a sudden there's a surge of European players that are like the top. If you take the top 20 offensive linemen in the NFL, if like 3/4 of them are from like the Eastern Bloc of Europe, or these great quarterbacks all of a sudden start coming out of Europe, or you know what I mean? If there's an influx of talent like you've had in the NBA or you've had in baseball,
we're arguing two different points.
But my thing is yes, is it an annoying that those games are played, regular season games are played, and you're taxing your players? You have to wake up at like a ridiculous time in the morning to work to watch them. It does not benefit U.S. people like to have international games, but there is a benefit down the road. You just have not seen it yet in the NFL.
Well, they're benefiting the inside of their wallets, and then they'll still cry poor when they have to go to taxpayers and say, "Oh, city of Chicago, do you want a team? I can't afford a building, but my league will send me to fucking Granada to play a game." Like, NFL, get your shit together. Get your shit together, NFL. All right. Next unpopular opinion.
Where can I go? All right. The 2025-2026 New York Knicks.
Okay. The current Knicks.
Current Knicks.
Uh-huh.
I believe next Wednesday start their game 1 of the NBA Finals. The first time that the Knicks have been in the NBA Finals since 1999.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The Knicks have not won a championship since, I think, 72.
Is it 72 or is it 60 or it's 1970? 69, 70
I don't know,
season.
70 something. It's
long time.
been a long time.
Long time.
Almost as long as the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Jets still got them.
Here's the deal.
I don't like this.
The Knicks have had the easiest cakewalk to the NBA Finals since the '80s Lakers. The Knicks beat a crappy Atlanta Hawks team 4-1.
Yeah.
That Atlanta team probably, if it's in the West, doesn't even make the playoffs.
Okay. All right.
The 76ers come back and somehow, I don't know, how the fuck do you give Missoula the Coach of the Year award when he blows a 3-1 lead to the 76ers, who their best player is constantly hurt and flopping? Whatever. So they beat a pretty shitty 76ers team. That team is, if they're in the West, maybe makes a play-in game. Maybe doesn't even make the. And then a Cleveland team who plays absolutely no defense. Zero. James Harden, maybe the worst defensive player I've ever seen in my life. How they beat Detroit, I don't.
That's more on Detroit.
That's more on Detroit, and it just seems like. You want to talk about like the NFL scripted? I feel like somehow somebody scripted the Knicks into the. We'll find out who they're going to play.
Yeah.
The Spurs or the Oklahoma Thunder. If they're going by who have the Knicks have a better chance of beating, I think it's going to be the Spurs.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We'll see. We'll see how they wrote the script out.
Wow, tinfoil hat
for those for those that may or may not remember, the Lakers would get to the finals just about every year out of the West because the West for a very long time was absolute shit.
Shit, right? Yeah, yeah.
So, just to point out that I actually looked up, and I'm not just so in 1980. The Lakers beat the 76ers.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Suns 4-1 and the Supersonics 4-1.
Mm.
Those 80s Suns and Super weren't.
Yeah, they weren't
built the 90s.
Yeah.
All right. Following 82, they go and win the finals. They beat the Suns again 4-0,
mm-hmm.
and the Spurs, not David Robinson Spurs, or Tim Duncan Spurs,
George Gervin,
crappy Spurs. I don't even think Gervin was on the team.
Iceman was there. Yeah.
4-0.
Okay.
85. They beat the Suns again, 3-0.
I feel like the Suns are good.
The Portland Trailblazers 4-1.
Clyde Drexler.
And the Denver Nuggets, your Kiki Vandeweghe, Alex English. We don't play any defense. We play run and shoot basketball. Yeah. They beat them 4-1.
Okay.
87 gets a little bit. They beat the Nuggets 3-0. The Warriors, which I think might have been the first year of Mullen in 87.
Yeah.
4-1. The Supersonics, they sweep. 88 may be their hardest run. And it also coincides with kind of like the end of their run.
Yeah.
They beat the Spurs 3-0. And they actually have to go 7 games against the Jazz and the Mavs.
Wow.
So basically in an 8-year span, they had to go to 7 games twice, and it happened to be in the same year when the West finally started getting a little bit better.
Okay.
The NBA East this year was a absolute joke. And it's just
all right.
My feeling is if they play the Spurs, they got a chance because that team's kind of beat up and they're young. Although Wemby is going to be a handful for them to handle, I don't think they're ready yet. If it's OKC, going to be a lot of upset Knicks fans.
Here's the thing. This is where I'll the comparison to the Lakers only starts being a comparison if the Knicks go on a run of making the NBA Finals another 4 or 5 times in the next decade.
I'm just saying the Lakers in the 80s had some of the
when
there was a good team like those 2 years or whatever where there's the Twin Towers.
Right. Yeah. They didn't make the playoffs.
They didn't make the finals.
Yeah. Well, right. Exactly. But that's the I guess the I think the story of the Knicks this year, and I'm certainly not coming as a Knicks fan. I'm not a hater. I'm not a supporter. I'm right down the middle. You kind of you feel good for them because it's the tri-state area, and you know people that are like diehard Knicks fans that are like, we've been dying for this team to get their act together. Slowly but surely, the last few years they've been inching up and inching up, but fate just keeps slapping them down at certain points. And now they have the destiny. They've played their ass off in this playoffs, and yeah, they lost one game against Atlanta.
What do you mean they played their Cleveland? Their starters, I don't even think played the fourth quarter for most of those games.
They crushed all of these teams. Whether these teams were worthy of being in the playoffs or not, they crushed all of these teams.
I understand you got to play the teams that are in front of you, and you still have to make your shots. I'm just saying, this is not. But this is not getting through.
You're not repainting the trophy because you're not playing. This isn't a video game where you play the 86 Bulls as the 2026 Knicks. You're playing who's in front of you. Is it a shame that some of the teams that played better all year round didn't make a deeper run into the playoffs, or ran into teams and ran out of steam or dealt with injuries? Yeah, if you're telling me on paper going into the playoffs, who probably would be the best matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm going to say 100% of the time it's the New York Knicks versus the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons played an incredible regular season. The Knicks were gutsy and played a very good regular season. So, in brass tacks, that's the matchup that you want. But unfortunately, because we have to have a bigger playoff pot of people that are playing in the playoffs, there's going to come a time where there's some upsets, there's some blowouts, there's some boring series because one team doesn't want to really play anymore, and the Knicks seem to be getting they're uncursed, so they seem to be gliding through this. That's more of an indictment on the rest of the teams in the Eastern Conference than it is on the Knicks. Will they hit a buzzsaw? It's potential. There's potential, but don't you want there to be a little bit of competition? Finally, at the end of this, if you can get a 7-game series where you're spitting up blood after having these 3 patty cake playoff series, I think even the Knicks fans would say, "Give me the competition. We want to play at our best so we can earn that trophy." Your argument might be in play if this is a Knick dynasty that all of a sudden gets afforded opportunities to now draft players or to trade up because they've got momentum, and then all of a sudden now you have to hear about a Knick dynasty for the next 10 years, and then you're like, I'm sick of these Knicks. But let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's give them their flowers for doing what they're doing right now, and then see what happens when they get to the next series.
Hey, all I'm saying is everybody poo-pooed, and I'm all for it, but everyone poo-pooed on the Patriots last year because they got to the Super Bowl and they had the easiest regular season. They had the easiest path to the they didn't have to play Buffalo. Mahomes was hurt. They played Denver the week after Bo Nix broke his ankle. They played the AFC Championship game against a Denver team that had to start a backup quarterback who hadn't taken a snap since preseason, all that other stuff. Mm-hmm. And then when they finally faced a good team in Seattle,
they weren't prepared.
They got blown. They got blown out.
Yeah. Their coach was thinking about fucking an NFL insider instead.
Well, I don't know what Mike Brown's thinking about. All I'm saying is everything that could have possibly broke for the Knicks have broke for the Knicks, and they've had a pretty easy walk to the finals. And hey, if they go and they sweep Oklahoma, all for them. Then they can sit there and say we beat everybody in front of us.
Right.
And
we were the dominant team in the playoffs.
Nobody. If you're a Knicks fan, you're not going to look up at that banner and be like,
no,
it's nice, but
you're happy that you had it in your lifetime. Yep,
exactly.
And you hope for more.
All I'm saying, if we're gonna do, hey, we're in the New York area, and there's a lot of Knicks fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Unpopular opinion.
Yeah,
Knicks have had a pretty easy walk to get to the NBA Finals. The fact that their starters, I think, sat the fourth quarter for 3 out of the 4 games against Cleveland. The one game that they had to actually play in the fourth quarter, Cleveland blew a 22-point lead.
Yeah,
How do you blow a 22-point lead with 7 minutes left?
They were gassed out
Awful.
from playing that series against the 7 games against the Pistons. Took the wind out of them. Hey, it happens. I'm going to hit a couple rapid fire ones, which are more or less like one line, unpopular opinions.
Quick, give it to me.
Feel free to chime in, but some of these you can understand where I'm coming from. I like the runner on second in baseball in extra innings. I think it makes the game more exciting. I don't like to sit through 16-inning baseball games. I don't care if you call me a non-traditionalist or if you tell me that some of the best games that ever were played were 16 innings. That's too much time to be watching baseball. Keep the runner on second forever.
May I chime real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm all for the golden rule in regular season play after the 10th inning.
Okay.
Whoever scores first, the game's over.
Yeah, that's okay. That might be a bridge too far, but anyway, that's unpopular opinion. There you go. I think there's too much food at Major League Sports stadiums. Set a little menu and let that be it. I don't need crab cakes. I don't need to wait on a long line for the this out of control like barbecue joint that got all this praise online and these people are telling it's delicious. First of all, it's stadium food. It's not delicious. I see who's making your stadium food, and they are minimum wage workers who are just taking it off a heating roller and putting it in a little cardboard carrier, and they're handing it to you, and you're handing them $50 fucking for something that was not made by a gourmet chef. There's no gourmet chefs, unless maybe you're at the club level. That food is not making it down to your level, motherfuckers. So stop telling me that there's great, delicious food in stadiums. I've eaten at stadiums for close to 45 years, and the best thing in a stadium is still a hot dog 9 times out of 10. And you're not going to convince me that this lobster roll or this Pat LaFrida meatball sandwich, the first bite might taste good, but now I got to carry a fucking meatball sandwich through fucking Citi Field. Get off your high horses, people. It's also driving up the ticket price because they have to keep hiring these super chefs to come up with these ridiculous dickhead concoctions that's going to cost you $26 on top of your $115 ticket. Get smart. Just eat hot dogs at these stadiums. Baseball, football, basketball, whatever.
Give me an RC Cola and a bag of Bonton chips, and I'm happy.
Seriously. Do I need a chicken fry bucket? No. And if it's like, oh, my kid only eats chicken, don't bring him to baseball games.
And if it's a summer game, give me a upside down batting helmet with ice cream in it.
Yeah, that's fine. Ice cream's fine. Don't make me stand online for ice cream, though. Monday Night Football's dead. I mentioned that briefly. The NBA deserves Christmas back. Just a bigger argument against the NFL expanding into everything. Tom Brady's worst contribution to culture is let's go. Get that thing out of everything that I hear. It's in commercials. It's in kids on video games. It's on radio shows. It's people that celebrate are just like, let's go in his cadence. Fuck off, Tom Brady. You shouldn't have foisted that on us. And I will finish my rapid fire suggestions with the following. The only sport with perfect instant replay is tennis because they've always used robots for their instant replay.
All right. Quickly. Americans are too lazy to understand soccer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, except for children. Except for children who love it.
NFL football will be flag football within 20 years after the 2028 Olympics.
Okay.
And I wish I could give the person credit. Tanking in sports has been a big topic, and I found the perfect solution for. Somebody suggested this for the NBA, and I think it could be applied to all 4 major sports.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA commissioner's office sets the price for how much a beer should cost at each stadium.
Okay.
So let's just say you set that beer at $10. Your home opener a beer costs $10. For every game that you lose, whether it's home or away, the cost of beer goes down 10 cents.
So you're incentivizing me to go to more games if my team is worse.
So here's the thing. You're an NBA team that loses 60 games a year because you're trying to get a number one pick. You're going to lose $6 towards the end of the season. About that last game of the year, you're selling your beers at $4 and you're not getting the revenue from alcohol sales anymore. So you're being punished in the wallet for trying to tank.
Wouldn't I drink more and attend games if the beer price was lower? I'm thinking of it like it's a bar. No, I wouldn't travel to Madison Square Garden.
So
and spend
you're
$700 on a ticket to drink a $4 beer.
You don't want to go and travel into Seabright to go to a bar with us, but you're going to go to the Barclays Center.
Yeah, because there's a $4 beer. No, I take that back. Strike that from the record. Strike that from the record. That's an interesting notion. I don't know if that's an unfair opinion. I think that's a challenge. That's more or less like put your money where your mouth is. Your teams that want to tank, like you think you're going to get a better draft choice by playing terrible football? Yeah, we're going to hit you where it really counts. Well, then, there are some teams that never get a good draft choice anyway. So
it would be kind of funny if like the biggest attended game for like the Nets next year was the last game of the year.
The last home game
against one of the shitty East opponents. Nets Wizards sold out.
Yeah, sold out.
5 minutes.
SRO.
Beers are like $3.90.
Don't put it past the people of Brooklyn for saying like, I haven't gone to a game in 3 years. This is the one to go to because the tastes are cheap.
You finally may have found a reason to go to Barclays Center.
Yeah,
to watch a Nets game.
Also, like the concession cutoffs are at halftime, so take that. Now you're selling less by not having that extra quarter to get people all sauced up. So,
speaking of unpopular opinions,
that's the whole episode.
You want to address why we cannot take live phone calls on our podcast?
Yes, I meant to mention something about this not too long ago because somebody I happen to be with some folks who said, "Hey, I listened to your show. Here's an idea of how it could get better," which is great because it's always like this great unsolicited. And this particular person was like, "You should have like a question and answer segment where you can have people call in or like have like a voicemail. Even if you can't do it live, you should have a voicemail where people can call in and they can leave you a question or they can leave a comment about your show." Which I'm like, first of all, we have a comment section across every single episode that we put out. We have social media. You can find us at Captain and Madden Show on X, on Blue Sky, it's under Off the Cuff Stuff on Instagram. You'll find us on Facebook. You'll find us pretty much like anywhere where there's a hive of social media, but also there's a fucking comment section underneath every episode. You can leave questions all day long. And this person was like, "Well, I don't know, like an interaction." And I'm like, "I don't know. I said, do you really think you want to be involved with the conversation?"
That would require either two things happening. We would have to go out and get our own phone line.
Yes.
Which, if you've noticed throughout our podcast, there are no sponsors.
Yeah. Hey, sponsor us and buy our phone line.
Or two, that would require you or I giving out our real phone numbers to people.
I'm not doxing myself to this audience.
I mean, there are a majority of people that probably listen to it that have one of our phone numbers. You could always text us.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But I'd be more open for a kind of like, hey, this week's episode, we answer viewers' mail. Like, send us emails, send us comments, and we'll address it. Like, we will do a whole episode of just so and so from Keyport, New Jersey said,
Okay.
why don't you guys do this? And then we will talk about it and debate whether or not going forward we should do it. Hell, we'll even put up a poll somehow to like, hey,
Yes.
do you want us to start doing that? Like, this was suggested in our mailbag. Do you want to like?
The show does have an email address. I just don't really do anything with that email box, but I could certainly activate it.
I'm just saying,
if this thirsty audience really wants to interact.
So this person, we got a comment and a suggestion from this person on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't why don't you guys do a live show or whatever the question would be?
Yeah. Why don't you talk more about this? Right. Yes.
Whatever it is, we'll address it and we'll talk. And that will be like a whole episode of if we get enough comments, we'll mention you on the podcast.
Yeah. No, I'm even going to take it one step further. Bombard once by the time we have next week's episode, please remind me during our production meeting to share the email address when we get to next week's episode, because I'm going to say it here. I am more than happy to answer every single question that comes in. Everybody that's got a little, and I will not censor anything. You can make me say anything you want. Well, within reason. If it's going to be something that's racial or like highly controversial, I'm certainly not going to get involved with that. I will throw those away. But if it's within reason and it's a serviceable question and the captain and I both decide that we're going to tackle that question in the wording that it is, but I will certainly, like, everybody that sends in through this email address or even through like the regular comments and socials, hit us up. I promise you that we will mention everybody, almost like hey, here's the people that contributed content and questions to this viewer mail episode. We want to thank this one, that one, blah, 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 blah. So please, like, do your best to stump us with questions, to ask about things we can improve our show with, to maybe somebody's like, hey, I have a company and if you'll do free advertising, we'll do free advertising for anybody. By the way, we're for sale and we're for free advertising. So yes, if you want to be a free sponsor, if you have a summer business and you want to be a free sponsor on the Captain and Madden show, next week you'll have the actual business email to send it to us.
By the way, it has to it has to be a legal business.
Yes, we're not going to. Right, we're not. Right. Yes.
If you have a quote unquote massage parlor,
we're Asian massage parlors or Russian massage parlors are off the table. But if you have a dog grooming business or you run a food truck in an area, or you do beach rentals, or if you do calligraphy, or you work for NASA and you want to like start like a fan mail section for the NASA astronauts, please let us help you promote that business while you actually reap the free benefits and you get your name shouted out on the show. So that's our olive branch we're extending to our audience.
And I hope that's a popular opinion.
I think that's a popular opinion. Helping the audience get their voice heard is great. I think we do a show that's very audience friendly, despite maybe unpopular opinions being the topic of the next 4 episodes, if we decide to continue to do it this way. But yeah, this was edgy. I will say this was an edgy episode, but it was also kind of fun.
It's always nice to just throw out stuff like, this is what this is what I'm thinking. Here's my thoughts on it. Mm-hmm. I know nobody else agrees with me, but this is what I think.
Yeah. Okay. Is it time to sign off?
I am sitting here waiting to what type of sign off you got for me this week. I don't know if you've been preparing anything after last week's.
Last week's was very off the cuff.
I felt like Carlos Beltran looking at a curveball on 3-2. I was like, like my knees buckled. Like, what did you just say?
Yeah, right. I caught you looking on that one. I hope the ball doesn't go
with the Uncle Charlie.
I hope the ball doesn't go in the dirt this week. But I will sign off with this. This is Mike Madden on my side. That's the captain, Michael Corby, on his side. Remember, folks, the NFL coach gets high praise, but he also gets the most amount of help. So we hope you guys help us with your opinions for next week's and for future episodes. And hang in there. Have a good week.
Bye, Mike.
Wiener dog.